So today I'm dealing with the jump, um, as well as a wall slide and wall jump. So first I'll make the jump animation. So I've got my arms down file to begin with, so that way I don't have to rotate the fingers and bring the arms down. So usually a lot of times when people make jumps, they'll do like an animation where the player goes down and then jumps in the air like this, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do just an idle animation where he's already in the sky when he's already off the ground. So basically what I mean is I'm just going to keep it simple for now. I'm not going to I don't want too much detail at this point. I just want to make sure that everything's functional from like a coding standpoint, so that's why I'm going to keep the animation simple. So this is just an idle animation when he's in the air. I don't know if maybe the hands be a little bit higher. The elbows can be a little bit lower. Okay, so I'm going to key all the bones. Let's keep it simple like that. She's just idling. So I'll call this, first I'll grab all the geometry in the armature, and then I'll export it. As an FBX. And I'll call it main character jump. And when that's done, I'll just save the Blender file with the same name, main character jump. So with that out of the way, I have to create one more animation. So this animation is going to be used when he's jumping off the ground, as well as he's jumping off a wall. So I'm just going to use the exact same animation. And I want to create one more animation, but this time I'm going to use the default pose. This is when he's sliding down the wall. But for this one, I'm going to no, actually this looks fine. This is going to be 30 frames as well. So I'm going to pretend there is a wall right here. I'm just going to position everything as if his knees and toes. So I'll use this grid line as the wall, and I want to have the knees and toes touching that grid line. This, and I'm also going to position the hands. Position the hands on that imaginary wall. Looking up. I don't know, maybe it would be more natural if he was looking down. Okay, so there's an imaginary wall. He's just sliding down. So you can slide down until he reaches the ground, or if the player presses jump, you can jump off the wall. So I got a keyframe here at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and export. Call this wall slide. And save the Blender file by the same name. two files that I just created, those two FBXs, jump and wall slide, copy it and paste it into my Unity folder. So, well, as you can see, I've also changed the texture, so it looks more like skin color as opposed to like dirt. Look like there's like soot or like, I don't know, like ashes instead of like skin shadows. It's not perfect yet. It looks kind of dirty, but I don't know if it looks better than before. Now that I have those animations, um, I need to. These are going to be idle animations, so or sorry, not idle. Loop animations. So I need to click loop time and apply. And that's the jump animation, and you should do the same thing for the wall slide. Loop time, apply. Okay, so one change that I made is I pushed him for the wall slide animation. I pushed him so that he's aligned with the center. Before I had him over here, I used this as like an imaginary wall. The reason I pushed him back is because I don't want to do that extra calculation. I just want to place him wherever the wall is, because his pivot is center with these two axes. I also added these blend trees. So what I did is I right click, create state, create new blend tree, and I created two of them. So if I just double click them, I click on the blend tree, press this plus button, and I press the jump animation. And then I did the same thing with the wall slide. And these are triggered by Boolean. So the jump is triggered when is jumping is true, and then it goes back when is jumping is false. The wall slide is triggered when is wall sliding is true, and it fires back when wall sliding is false. In the main character script, I created three floats with serialized fields: jump speed, gravity, floor distance, and I created vector 3 called vertical vector. Now I'm going to go into the start function, and I want to put vertical vector, which is this that I just created, equal to vector 3.0. So just at the beginning of the game, the vertical vector, because he's not moving anywhere, it was just going to be set to 0. And at the bottom here, I'm going to create a Boolean called is grounded. And I'm going to do raycast hit. Oops. Raycast hit. And I'm going to name it hit if physics.raycast transform.position, which is the position of the player, vector 3.down, so the raycast is going down from the player, and out hit. So return hit.distance is smaller or equal to floor distance, which is a floor distance I created up here, it's going to be, because it's a serialized field, I'm going to set it in the Unity editor. So it's checking to see if this, if the hit distance of the raycast is smaller or equal to flare distance, then is grounded is true. Otherwise, it's going to be false. Okay, so right below this, I'm going to create a void vertical movement, and I'm going to call this in the update function. So an update vertical movement. So that way it's constantly firing. So this is whatever's in here is going to be constantly fired. So if it is grounded, so if this is true, which is being checked right here by the raycast, if it is grounded and if input dot get button down jump, I'm checking to see if the jump button is pressed. So I'm going to go in here and check what that button is. The jump button is a space bar. So if this button is pressed, then vertical vector dot y equals jump speed, which is another serialized field, another field that we created up here. The animator set bool is jumping is true. So I'm basically setting this to true so that it goes from here to here. Else if vertical vector dot y is smaller than 0, then if it's grounded and the button is not pressed, then vertical vector dot y equals 0, which means oops, there's no vertical movement. So if it's grounded, then all this happens. Else, if it's not grounded, then vertical vector dot y minus equals gravity, which is this gravity value. So it's constantly subtracting this amount times time dot delta time. And lastly, we need to actually move a character, so character controller, which is this right here. Character controller dot move. The movement of it is going to be vertical vector So far we've been setting um, the vertical vector dot y. So I'm going to go ahead and compile this. Go back into Unity. So the main character selected. The jump speed would be 0.1. As you can see, I created these 3D serialized fields. Gravity is 0.15. The floor distance is 0.02. Slope limit is 90. And the character controller. And skin width I want to make even smaller. Okay, so I'm going to try this out. So I hit play. So I can move around and I hit jump. Oh, I forgot one thing. Um, is grounded. Let me try this. That doesn't work either. I don't know why I did this. This doesn't belong here. This should be. This should be true. So if it is grounded, and the button is the jump button is pressed, and it is jumping is true. Else if it should be false. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, so I made some changes. First thing, instead of setting the animator and the void vertical movement, I canceled this out. Instead, I'm setting the animations and the update function. If vertical vector is greater than 0, meaning if it's going up, then is jumping is true. If it's falling down, or if it's 0, if it's absolutely still or falling down, then is jumping is false. Another thing that I did was for the jump speed I had to adjust it to 0.5 and the gravity to 0.7. Otherwise, with the original values, it was jumping way too slow. It was jumping really high really slow, and the gravity was too low as well, so it was falling really slow. So this speeds things up. So for the wall slide, I created a where is it? Create a boolean can wall slide. It can wall slide if there's a raycast that's shooting forward, and if the distance to the raycast hit is smaller than the wall distance, which I've created a float here, and I've set it to 0.2. So if that raycast hits the wall, and the distance from the player to the wall is smaller or equal to that 0.2 wall distance, then can wall slide is true. If not, then it's set to false. And then I also created a wall slide method, which is triggered in the update right here. So it's constantly triggering in the update. So to do another raycast. This one goes forward. It's the same thing, same raycast as this one, as the can wall slide, but I had to do another one. If can wall slide, if this boolean that I created, if this is true, then the animator sets the boolean to is wall sliding true. I also made, actually I don't need this raycast, so I can cancel that out. I created another boolean called can control, which is basically right here, boolean can control is true, or that's basically for the controls of the forward and backwards movement. The reason I did that is when it's wall sliding, I don't want the player to be able to move around. It's only when the wall sliding is false that the player can move around again. And also, I'm trying to set the rotation of the player to the same rotation of the normal. Actually, I do need this then. Oh yeah, this the raycast. The whole point of this raycast was to get the normal of the hit area of the wall, and I'm using a negative because I'm negative transform forward because I wanted this. I wanted to face the opposite. And so if I go play now, let me see. If I play, let's just say move towards the wall, but just say I'm on an angle to the wall, but I press jump. Oops. Let me try that again. Instead of being flush against the wall like this, as you can see, he slides down and then he falls to the ground. But just say I'm on an angle like this, and I jump, then he rotates towards the wall, and that's what this part's for. But but because I want it to face the wall, I have to use a negative transformed forward. You have to start a coroutine immediately, so that that triggers the I enumerator stop wall slide. And what that does is after a 2-second delay, it sets the animator set bool is wall sliding to false again, and can control equals true, so he can move around. Another thing that I did in the animator was instead of having the wall slide be triggered from the from the normal blend space, it can also be triggered from the jump. Because usually before he wall slides, he's probably jumping. So these two are probably not needed, but I'll just leave it anyways, because it's usually from the jump that he transitions into the wall slide. So if I play, if I run up to the wall, he does nothing, but it's only when I'm jumping, when I'm not grounded, that he wall slides, and then he falls off when he hits the ground. And he hits the ground because of the 2-second delay, the I enumerator. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. The next thing that I want to work on is the wall jump. So I wanted to jump away from the wall if the character presses, or the player presses jump while the character is wall sliding. First, I want to add one thing. If one problem that I have is if he's wall sliding, okay, I can press the, while he's wall sliding, I can press the jump button. So this should only be if the jump button is pressed. So I need, when the jump button is pressed, I need two separate scenarios where he's jumping off the ground versus when he's jumping off the wall. So I have to figure out a way to differentiate that. Okay, so I've created a boolean called is wall sliding. And, by default, it's set to false. But when it is wall sliding, the boolean is set to true, and after this coroutine is triggered, after 2 seconds it's set to false, because by that time it's on the ground. Another thing so after I set that to true here, under this vertical movement, so this is the original that I have. When he's standing on the ground, he presses jump, then he jumps in the air. But I want to do another one where the jump button, or the space bar is pressed. If is wall sliding is true, then I'm going to use this to flip him around, facing away from the wall. And like the regular jump, I'm going to add vector y in the up, but I also need to add a vertical vector in the z, um, and I gave it a minus 0.5 force, so he's going up but also away from the wall. But if I just leave it like this, then he's gonna keep on going in that direction. So I need to stop it. So that's why I sort of created this other routine, stop z force, and I trigger it down here. So after half a second, that vertical vector z is set to 0. Originally it's set to minus 0.5, and then it's set to 0. So if I play, I also move the camera back so it looks smaller. So let's just say he moves to the wall. So like, I'll do that again. So it jumps to the wall. I press jump again, then he jumps away from the wall. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. So the next thing that I would like to try and do is have him bounce between two walls, so he can go up, kind of like in Darksiders 2, where there's two walls and you can go up to up a tower or something. But for some reason, it's only reading one side of this geometry. So if I play, if I run around to the other side of this wall, it doesn't work on this side for some reason. It only works on this side. And I duplicated this wall and I put it over here. If I jump on this side, it doesn't work there. But if I go to this side, okay, it works on this side for some reason. I'm not too sure, so I've got to figure that out. I've sort of got it working now. So basically what I did first was in the raycast for the wall slide, this was vector 3.forward, but I changed it to transform.forward. And the same thing with this one here. This was vector 3.forward as well, but I changed it to transform.forward. I'm basically doing it twice. One to check to see if there's a wall and if it's close enough to wall slide, and also I did another one to get the normal so that I can rotate the character to the normal of the wall. So that's one thing that I changed, and then after that, in order to make the jump work, originally I had this vertical vector dot z along with the vertical vector dot y equals jump speed. These two fed into character controller dot move vertical vector. So this is setting the y and the z for this vertical vector
variable, but instead of feeding the z into the vertical vector, the problem with doing this was that it only does minus 0.5 the world. What is it? In the world coordinates. So I could be, if I jump on this side of this wall, then I can, just say I'm wall sliding, then I can jump out this way. But as soon as I'm on this side, I can't jump this way because this minus value is only in this direction, minus z. It doesn't go in this other direction. That's why I cancel this out. Instead, I'm using this vertical vector dot z. Actually, I am feeding the z value into here as well as the y, but instead of using minus 0.5, I'm doing transform dot forward z times 0.5. So that seems to work. The same thing with this raycast. Before I said this was vector 3. And the reason why I changed this to transform as well as this one here is that vector 3, I guess it was only shooting a raycast in the z forward position, like this way. It wasn't turning with the player. So if the player was pointing the other direction, the raycast would still be going that way, I guess. So that's why it wasn't working. But now, if I hit play, I can run over to the other side of this wall now. Oops. Oops. That's a little bit too quick. So if I go here, wall slide and press jump, I can jump away. And if I have two walls, this is not perfect yet, but I need to still work on it a bit more. But it's close enough for now. So if I slide, jump, whoops, try this once more. Jump. There we go. Actually, it's not jumping far enough. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I'll try force of 1. It was working 2 seconds ago. So if I go to this wall, slide, jump, then I can go back and forth between walls. But at some point it stops working. I don't know why. Try that once more. I'm gonna put this back to 0.5. Oh, and I also added so after where is it? So after this is after I add that Z, when I do the wall jump, I do start coroutine, stop Z force. So I set that vertical vector Z to 0. Otherwise, this vertical vector Z is going to keep on going. So that's why I had to add that. Yes. Okay, seems like this 0.5 is not strong enough, so I'm going to have to go with 1. I think the thing that's throwing this off is the stop wall slide, because I have it stopping after 2 seconds. Ideally, it should just stop when he hits the ground, but it wasn't doing that. That's why I added this stop wall slide. So after he starts wall sliding, after 2 seconds it stops. And I think that throws it off. But anyways, if I try it now, still not going far enough. And 0 point, or that 1F is not far enough. I'm just gonna put this closer. Oops. He should be able to keep going until he reaches the top, but I don't know if something's slowing it down. I'm not exactly sure what. But I think this is good enough for now. I'm gonna cut it off here. I'm gonna refine this, but the future videos is gonna be more functionalities um, like wall running and ledge climbing and things like that. So hopefully you enjoy that, and hopefully I'll see you in future videos.